Scuba diving in Florida, reserving a hotel in Alaska, seeing the sights in New Mexico. These are not vacation suggestions. According to the federal government, these are actual tours in which Chinese nationals were found trying to access sensitive sites and military bases in the United States. The Chinese nationals often identify themselves as tourists and get what seems to be scripted answers when questioned. They often chalk it up to being lost. In New Mexico, there are repeated incidents of Chinese nationals starting out at the White Sands National Park and then being found at a nearby military missile site taking pictures. U.S. officials count at least 100 such incidents in the last few years. Chinese nationals have also been found in rural areas where there is little tourism, making their claims all the more bizarre. U.S. officials consider these encounters to be a potential espionage threat. They believe these are efforts by China to test U.S. security protocol. Most trespassing laws are state or local, not federal, meaning these incidents can easily be overlooked, particularly their collective significance. Republican Senator North Dakota and member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Kevin Cramer, joins me. Good evening, sir. And what is being done to find out who's coming into the United States and going down these tours, and whether they're just Chinese tourists with visas or whether they're Chinese tourists with visas up to no good?
Well, Greta, I think for the most part you can assume the latter. I mean, especially when you're talking about some of these rural areas. We've had a similar situation near Minot, North Dakota, where we have 150 intercontinental ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads on them. Not a hot tourist spot. So what's being done about it is, of course, that they get caught, they get questioned. What I think the greater concern is the collective, to your point. There's over 100 of them that they've caught or that they've identified, but there could be thousands that are doing this and nobody knows anything about it. There are things that can be done and should be done, but we have to have an administration that's willing to do them, like we had when Mike Pompeo restricted the B-2 visas to one entry within a month, not multiple entries over the course of 10 years, which is something that the Biden administration did away with as soon as he became president.
Any idea how long this has been going on? Because, I mean, you know, I've been covering a lot of China. In fact, I've been in North Dakota covering that corn mill that was purchased by a company that was related to Communist China. It was a Chinese company. It was part of Communist China, of course. And I know that you have about a 310-mile border with Canada, and I assume that that's is easy access. You're, I think, 18 points of access. So tell me, how long has this been going on in our country that we've sort of been looking the other way?
So that question is an important question. I wish I knew the answer to, but I think we can presume, Greta, that it's been going on for a very long time, and therein lies the problem. Now, I think we could probably look back on history and wonder how much data was collected by the spy balloon fiasco, and if they did it once, how many times did they do it that we didn't know they did it? And back to your point, I don't know the answer to that. I suspect maybe the intelligence agencies may have some information, but the bigger question is, what are we going to do about it going forward? And that's why I've joined Senator Rubio's bill that would actually ban CCP members from even getting a B2 tourist visa or a B1 business visa at all. And I think the bigger challenge here is, how seriously do we take China? I take it very seriously. Lots of people take it very seriously. This administration is now sent 4 high-ranking officials to China to meet with their counterparts for talks. I mean, I just think we're naive at best, if not compromised.
You're on the Armed Services Committee, and I'm curious, you mentioned that spy balloon. Have you gotten all the information you want about that spy balloon? Because I'm big on transparency, and I have a lot of questions I don't get answered, so at least, you're right there on the pulse. Do you have all the answers you want?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm pretty satisfied with regard to why they did what they did. But by they, I mean, why didn't they shoot the balloon down while it was over Alaska or someplace, or Montana? Why did they wait for it to get over the ocean? I'm actually quite comfortable with that. I'm quite comfortable with what the military did in response by shutting a lot of things down, hiding aircraft, all of the information they could have gotten. What I'm not completely satisfied with is, do we yet know how much data they were able to collect, whether it's images from the ground or communications between space and the ground or aircraft? I think that's what we don't know at this point, Greta, that concerns me. But the other problem is are we going to prevent this from happening in the future? Because remember, at the heart of the spy balloon situation was that the intelligence agencies knew as soon as the balloon took off. They were familiar with the program. Everybody knew about it, but they didn't pass that information on to the NORAD Northcom commander until the balloon gets into our airspace. There's got to be better communication than those silos that really don't provide much transparency at all, and certainly not an adequate, timely response.
I agree. Senator Kevin Cramer, thank you, sir.